Hello, I'm Ross Taylor, your host and guide for Sacred Sundays, a space to slow down, tune in, and return to what's sacred within and around you. I'm also a life coach for empaths and sensitive souls, walking alongside those who are ready to come home to who they actually are. These conversations are part of fulfilling that purpose, a collective exploration of what it means to live in connection with the sacred. Some weeks you'll hear a sound-based offering to open the space. Other times we'll simply begin in conversation. However it unfolds, this is an invitation into presence, connection, and the beauty of the unseen. If these conversations find you, please subscribe, rate, and share so others can find their way here. Pour a cup of tea, settle in, and let's begin. Today I'm joined by Thirza Voysey, who lives and works on Gabriola Island at Soul Farm Sanctuary. Thirza offers one-on-one equine healing experiences, soul readings, and the Becoming membership. Her work reconnects people with their deeper truth and the magic of horses. She is also the author of The Wild in Us, where she shares her journey of healing and reclaiming her lost feminine power while being guided every step of the way by the horses. Her life had a turning point after her divorce, when the magic of horses came back into her world. Today, Thirza and the herd at Soul Farm Sanctuary help others remember the wild within themselves and reconnect with the wisdom that feels like home. Before we dive into her story and the medicine she brings through her work, Thirza is going to share a guided meditation with us.
I'm very honored to be here and to be able to guide everyone through this. We will be held in the Equine Collective or Equine Nation. And so let's take a deep breath and allow our awareness to sink into our bodies. We can feel our feet on the ground and feel our seats in our chairs or on the earth. And just allow our breath to flow into our lower bellies. And just allow the breath to go in as it wants. Fill up the space down in there, feeling our belly expand. And we're going to gently draw our attention up to our hearts. The horses love to work in the heart. So just notice what's going on in your heart area, in your shoulders, even down into your hands. Allow your breath to come there, feeling into our backs, into our chest. Just allow your breath to flow down your arms and fill up that whole space. And just notice, what does it feel like in there? What does your heart feel like today? We're just going to notice in there, imagine a very, very small spark in the center of our hearts, just a little light. And just as you take your next breath, watch that light expand a little bit, a lot, however feels good. And just allow that light to be filling up your whole heart. And then you can watch it fill your whole body. And then we're going to imagine that our hearts are connected to the herd. So imagine any herd of horses, any horses, ones that are special to you, ones that have passed, ones that maybe you've never met. Just a gratitude and a connection to all the horses in the collective. And just watch as your heart connects to all of theirs. Just a knowing that it's happening makes it happen. And then just feel the support that comes into your heart from the Equine Collective. One of their number one things that they offer to people is support. And we don't have to be with them. We can just feel it everywhere we are. And just imagine that as your heart connects to all of their hearts, that you feel their hearts in yours. You feel their openness, their connection, their love for you. And as you receive that, also notice the giving. So in practice, we connect with the horses through an infinity sign. So imagine from your heart, you can pick one horse or you can pick the entire collective. And just imagining that your heart has an infinity sign running from it to the other horse's heart and back to yours. So there's giving and receiving, and just let that run for a minute. Just watch it go back and forth. You can send your breath through the infinity sign. There's no right way. It's just a giving and a receiving. And just let it flow. Let the breath flow along, out and back. Nice deep breaths as the energy flows. And just feel what you feel. Just let it fill your whole heart, all the receiving, all the energy into your whole heart. You're giving and receiving from all of you. And if that feels hard or tricky, just notice. We're not forcing anything. We're just allowing what is to be, accepting everything. Or if you notice you're giving and receiving from one side or the other, just notice. And now we're just going to let that melt away and come back, bring your attention back to your own heart and just feel how it feels now. And then we're going to ask for one thought, one gift from the Horse Collective, just for me. Just allow that to be whatever it is. It can be a feeling, it can be a thought, it can be an idea, it can be a shift. And just sit in your heart as you receive. It can be something you are not even consciously aware of right now. It might show up in the next few days. Just receive your gift. And we're going to trust our intuition and just take the first thing that we think of that we're receiving as a gift and just bring that right into your heart and say thank you in your head. And just notice how you feel after receiving that gift. Notice how your heart feels. And then we'll go back to the expanding the light through all the hearts of me and the whole collective of the horses. Just imagine expanding that heart circle so that it wraps around the whole world. And we're sharing it with all the animals, all of nature, all the earth, all of humanity, sharing this strong heart circle, this love circle, the whole world, the whole planet. And just feel how, as a collective, we can hold that love circle and feel how it feels in your body to hold that expansiveness. And if it's not comfortable, you can always just drop out of it. You don't have to hold it. But if it feels good, just keep holding it. Continue to breathe deeply. And then we're just going to bring our energies back to our own selves, back to our own bodies. And watch as your light fills your whole body from head to toe, filling your whole self all the way out to your skin, all the way out around you, filling your whole energetic space around you, your energy body. And then just watch as that light goes down into your heart again. And you get to choose how you leave that light. You can leave it filling your whole body, or you can bring it back down into your heart if it feels comfortable. Filling your whole heart, or it can be that little light we started with, however you like, any way that feels good. And another deep breath as we pay attention to our seats on the ground or seats in our chairs, our feet on the earth. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room around you and back to your life. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Thirza. That was beautiful. I really needed that. It felt really great.
Me too.
I could totally feel the energy at the Horse Collective. I don't always feel things, so it was really beautiful to feel that energy and just the calm that came along with it. So thank you.
Very cool. I was just going to say it's pretty amazing when invited, like to fill the room with their energy. It always feels like a big heart energy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I experienced that for sure. All right, so let's begin our conversation. So I'm really curious to begin with how you came to this work. You said that there was a turning point in your life after your divorce, and maybe you could start just by sharing a little bit about, the old life that you kind of walked away from and the new life that you stepped into.
Yeah. Yeah. So I spent many years trying to do things the right way, quote unquote, and do things kind of the way that I was told to, the way that society told me how school taught me how, all these things, and went through school and did the university and got the job, got the government job, and got the husband and had the two kids, and I just didn't feel very happy I mean, I felt really happy because family was very important to me and I had wanted all those things. So in that way, I really felt content. But of course, like so many of us, there was such a kind of loud part of me that was getting louder and louder, and it was really talking to me through my body. I feel a lot, call myself a highly sensitive person because I do feel a lot, and it can be overwhelming for my nervous system at times. I've learned, of course, over the years with the horses, really come to be in my body so much more. And I was feeling a lot of anxiety throughout my life and a lot of different things that I write about in my book. And then at the moment of the divorce, I say in my book, he said, I'm not sure that I want to be married anymore. I don't want to be married anymore. And I remember standing at the counter and thinking, well, I mean, this was maybe a day later. I don't know. It felt like it was immediate when I think back. And it was that way didn't work. That being perfect, being good, doing it the way the world wanted me to do it didn't work out. Now I'm going to be the best me for me and for my kids. And it just really became, it really became about me and my soul at that point, and all of the things that, like, I kind of started then the process of, okay, what is it that my soul really wants? Because that's kind of, I have to find myself again. I was like, it was hiding a lot of my, who I really am at that point in my marriage. And so who am I? And I started taking salsa dancing, which is something I always wanted to do since watching Dirty Dancing at 11 years old and doing the partner dancing. And so, yeah, so I started doing that really gung ho, and that gave me a whole new, well, a lot of things, which I write about too. It gave me a lot of awareness in my body of the masculine feminine and how to really feel safe and how to feel inspired and how to express and all these things. So that was really healing for me. And then I also started my yoga teacher training at that time. And that really took me into, I was obsessed with the energy centers, and I started offering a lot of classes around that and just the philosophy and the consciousness that they were working in, essentially consciousness medicine. So I really took to that. And then I eventually found the horses who also work in energy after working in energy so many years. And so it was a really beautiful match that we came together and started working together.
What a great story. And it so reminds me of my own journey in some ways,
Mm.
in terms of going through divorce and trying to find myself. And for me, I was actually, I don't want to say a slow learner, but I had to go through it a few more times
Mm.
before it really, and, I'd learn actually through experience. And so I can relate to the piece of like finding myself. Like, I know a lot of the clients I work with, it's like, what do you mean connect with myself? Not even knowing who I am. And so I went through that experience of like, for the first time, putting myself first instead of everyone around me and outside of me. And it sounds like you went through that as well.
Yeah. And like you say, I'm kind of bold in that, where I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not getting,
Hmm.
sort of hurt in this way again, I guess, but also like I'm going to be on my own path much more. And I find some people don't often have access to that. Well, what do I even like, or who even am I? I have a lot of women whose kids have grown up and left home, and they will come and say, I don't even know who I am and I don't even know what I like. And so sometimes the process is just finding one thing that you like a little bit and, starting to do that, and then feeling those energies kind of come. And the cool thing is, usually if people have come here, then they have some connection in their life with horses. And often it's that, where it's like, well, I feel good around horses, or I had a connection with a horse when I was young. And so this was a reaching out in itself for them to connect back with their souls.
Yeah. I think of some of the people I've known through my life who have had that connection with horses, and they play such a special role in at different parts of those people's lives, that and the stories that they share and the way that the horses brought them through times in their life and the growth that they experienced through that is so powerful.
Yeah, that's kind of the word people use for it. It's always powerful.
Hmm. Yeah. And so on your website, your tagline on your homepage says, "Be your wild." And
Mm.
I was struck by that. I really felt the power behind that. What would you like to say about "Be your wild"?
Hmm. Um, yeah, I've always had this what I say, and it's find your medicine, feel your magic, be your wild. And to me, those three statements just feel like essentially they feel like all the energy centers kind of coming together, where it's like be your wild is like I'm going to be my soul self. I'm going to be who I am in my core vibration, which is really all the are doing is helping us be our core vibration and strengthen that. And really, even more discerning than that, to find this month, I just did for the Becoming Wild membership, I just did the live call today. And I'll share, I don't usually share, but one of the themes that was coming through was really that discernment around our vibration. It's not that we have to even change our vibration, it's that we have to let go of things that are not our core vibration and allow in things that are. So, in manifestation or whatever we're doing, we're not the reason that things might not be coming to us is not because we're not attracting them with our vibration, but it's that we're maybe have like an umbrella up and can't let them in. Or if things aren't working in our lives, maybe we're holding on to stuff that isn't ours. And often with especially highly sensitive people or energetically open people who haven't quite mastered their energy, there can be a lot of that holding on to stuff that is not ours. Or yeah, and also the piece around not fully being in our body, which is another piece. But I really liked that discernment around it's not that we're not who we are, because we just are who we are. We're out there emitting this vibration of who we are all the time. It's just whether we have the worthiness to really let those things in that match us. And I find that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it really makes me think about our nervous system and how much we might be living from outside stimulus versus inside stimulus. And so we might not realize how much noise there is in our system that is keeping us from seeing. Like, I think what you're saying is that, we're always vibrating at the highest level, but we can dampen it by what's going on in our nervous system, in our body, and the experiences we're holding on to and the stress we're carrying. It's like all of that is just like noise over and above who we really are.
Yeah.
Would that be what you're saying?
Yeah, and I always say, or I always tell a story that also is in my book of like when I being like 6 years old, I think, and that's how I sort of figured it out just based on memory, and how I would fall asleep and feel similar to the expansion in the meditation. I will feel my connection to all that is, and I'll feel myself expanding and have the whole world inside of me, and then all the planets. And this was never really a conscious thing. It just happened. And then I would get to this place where it felt overwhelming. I could feel kind of the energy running through my body, and it just felt too much or too big. And nobody had taught me how to hold that. And so then I just shut that down. However, I don't know how. I just started being really afraid in the world. And so that was my core vibration, that is. And it was really coming in hot at that age. And then I looked around me and saw people in fear, or people who said this is how we have to do it or whatever, and you can't be that way. And then we put all these things in place where like this is how I have to be, it can't be like that, we'll just hide that away. And people will say that about our shadow, that it's not just all the dark bad stuff, it's also the little singer or the little dancer or the little whatever who got shoved in there because she or he wasn't fully accepted in our world.
Mm-hmm. Shadow work. Yes. I mean, I love talking about shadow work because I think for me, it's been a big part of a lot of my healing. And I think, shadow work kind of gets misinterpreted sometimes because it's not about darkness necessarily. It's about bringing out the light that's been hidden and put into the shadows, and expressing those parts of ourselves that we've had to deny or suppress or reject.
Yeah.
And to link that back to what you were saying about the energy centers, what you were saying about fear makes me think about those lower chakras. the fear, guilt, and shame that live in those lower chakras. And I think of, I speak from my own journey. I spent so much time in those lower chakras in the distortion, and it's been a life's work to rise up and get to the heart space rather than being in those vibrations that keep us stuck, really, of fear, guilt, and shame.
Yeah. And the really beautiful thing about the work with the horses is that they reflect back to us both the part of us that is our core vibration and the part of us that has lived a life on this planet or that is blocking ourselves or whatever. They will, throughout a session, will often reflect back and maybe through me as the interpreter, but the edges kind of growth, right? Or what's showing up in that space. And so it's really fascinating to feel yourself, your core self, or your soul self reflected back from this 1,000-pound animal, and then also feel or have some awareness around, okay, what is it? What is this edge right now? And it might just be, for example, Raven is our black mare and female horse. They have medicines that they sort of bring forward, but I don't like to paint them with a brush. But it shows up over and over and over. And so she shows up with this powerful feminine leadership. And so she will show that to people. And sometimes, especially if it's your thing to learn or your edge of growth, then there will be something going on with her. So maybe she'll, like, even recently, she was in a session and she was hiding behind the barn. And I, of course, was like, okay, well, Raven is coming to my attention. That Raven, who often shows up with feminine leadership, is hiding and just curious about that. And of course, there was a whole story about that. And so really, it's really cool how they will show that specific thing often that we are kind of working on. And not, we can be working on 5-10 things at a time, but there's a piece that really shows up in our energy that's reflected back. It's very cool.
And it's subtle in a way that you could almost miss it.
Yeah.
I mean, I too had an experience. I think I told you before we hit record about I had a sample session of equine therapy, and you're reminding me that, one of the things that happened was the one horse kept walking away from me, wouldn't come towards me. And the reason it wouldn't come towards me was because I wasn't in my strength and my power. And the moment I stepped into that energy, the horse would come to me. And then I think I also reflected to you that, having this really clear experience where I said to the horse, "Oh, you're beautiful." And then the horse immediately turned its head and I could see my reflection in the horse's eyes.
That's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so quick and it's so subtle and it's so powerful. And so my job essentially is to catch those things for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've set up the membership so that people will have the opportunity to get into relationship with the horses over time. So people come for an hour every week and they get their time to build a relationship with the herd. And the horses helped me design this. Like, I had it very different. I had it very sort of the system and training people and all that stuff. And they were like, nah, we're not doing it like that, which was really hard for me to trust that, okay, we're just going to throw that out and start fresh. And this is how it's ended up. And they love it. They have their weekly visits with everybody. Somebody's coming almost every day. And I really wanted, or multiple times a day, I really wanted the community involved more with the herd and connecting more in this work. And that's how it happens, is when people have that kind of longer relationship, because I'm not usually, like, I'm around, but I'm not right there as I would be in a session. So I'm not doing the translating and the bringing it forward. What's happening over time is their horses are helping them to build their energetic strength and really essentially teaching them how to be and not how to do. And people will they start coming and they're like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And of course I give some guidance and, but people will come sometimes to check it out and be like, are we riding? And I'm like, no, we don't ride, we be. And so there's a lot of discomfort that comes with being, as we all know. And so there's lots of energetic practices and lots of ways to develop relationship. And what happens when people really start being is then the horses start to trust the people, and then they start to guide them in healing and how to work with, because it's I always say in session, it's for me, it's for you, it's for the collective and for the horses. And so they will start to show people how to do healing work and how to help some of the horses. And we have a young horse, Luna, who came with a lot of abuse in her past, and they all come from differing backgrounds, which are not beautiful, but they she was quite like, she came and she was biting us and she was jumping fences and she was not comfortable and not trusting. And so, and she's the youngest, and so often the older two will guide the people in the membership to put their hands on her or show them where. And she was really uncomfortable with that before, but every time that she has a safe interaction with humans, she and sometimes it's kids and sometimes it's men, was a thing for her. And she's
Mhm.
just learned through person after person that, okay, this is safe, this is safe, this is safe. And she, she obviously hasn't bit anybody in a long time. It was only me and my husband. Yeah, so it's this beautiful healing for everybody and the relationships that build. And then people become strong in their energy. If you're going to walk around with a 1,000-pound animal, and first of all, have your own boundaries, but then ask the horse to do something with you, like liberty. I teach liberty a lot, which is dancing with the horses, essentially, with no ropes or anything. And it's this beautiful energetic connection. But to get to that level where you're asking a horse to now trust you, but also do something with you and join you energetically, it's another level. So
Mhm.
it's just beautiful to see how people go through all these levels of connection with them.
Yeah. I think one of the things that struck me during the meditation energetically was the history between humans and horses, and the healing that I guess perhaps is needed for that lineage of the horses and that relationship with humans, but how they've been here and of service to humans for so long.
Yeah, a huge part of this work for me is for people to realize how much is going on with horses and how much they are here for
Mhm.
us in this specific way.
Mhm.
Not all horses want to work with humans, but the ones that do and the ones that are here, like they're no joke standing waiting for people before they come. And we have a acreage and there's fences. There's a few pastures that are fenced that we can shut, but mostly, like right now, everything's open. So when a human comes for a session, the horses can be wherever they want on the property. And they're not always, sometimes they will wander off, or one will wander off if it's not part of the session. They're still holding a space, and the other ones are coming forward because there's something that they're more involved with, but they're always there and wanting to be part of it and curious and excited. And it's really, I love it because they have so much choice. Yes, they can't leave the property necessarily at that time, but they could be up hiding behind the house. And I've literally there's this one lady who comes and she's very energetically strong
Mm.
and very in her body and very grounded and very has a lot of intuitive gifts and really knows about them. So she feels very strong. And Luna, the youngest one I was talking about, she actually was hiding up across the farm behind the house when she first came. And it took, I don't know, probably months of her coming once a week and then to different events and stuff for her to be right with her. And now they have this beautiful, really deep connection. And recently she was saying again, like, because I had been away and Luna wasn't super comfy when I was away. And so kind of ignoring people or being she can get a little snarky if she's not super comfy. And, but then I saw them, we had just had that conversation. And then a few minutes later, I saw them walking together across the farm. And I was like, wow, that's really shifted. So it's the most amazing thing for both the humans and the horses, for the horses to be seen in this deep way and for their gifts that they have. And even with the kids, I will always teach the kids, horses aren't here for us to use them for our uses, and this is one way.
Mhm.
It can be another way that humans use horses for therapy, and that's really important to me that that's not what we're doing, that we're actually building
Hmm.
relationship. And it's as much for me as it is for the horse. And I always tell people that if you're here, it's because you have something for the horses as well. It's not just about them having something for you.
Wow. The whole time you were talking, I've had a smile on my face just listening about the stories and your descriptions of everything. It's great.
Yeah, I love the examples because even your example about the
Hmm.
eye, like seeing yourself,
Hmm.
it's just people get it through stories, I think, or experiencing it, of course. It's just,
Hmm. And at the same time, if you weren't paying attention, you could miss it.
hmm, yeah,
And that's the beauty of having you as an interpreter to make sure that you catch those things and pass them on.
yeah. And there's so much depth in it, and it's very slow. And I think that's part of it that maybe is uncomfortable for people at first is it can seem like nothing's happening. I'm just
Hmm.
sitting here on the ground with these horses, or I'm standing here with my hand on this horse, or I'm standing in the barn not touching the horse because the horse doesn't want to be touched, or whatever. And we're humans, we're like, okay, I'm just going to come in and do this and do that and do this. And especially horse people are used to doing things with horses. And
Right.
so for us to just be with them, well, what's the point? Or why do you even have horses? I've had that question so many times. Why do you have them if you're not riding them? Oh, you're using them for
Hmm.
therapy. No, I'm not using them for therapy. It's, this is what we offer together. And it's a very back and forth thing. It's for the whole, I feel it's for
Hmm.
humanity and it's for the horse collective. And
I love it.
yeah, interestingly enough, my specific work I've mentioned a few times, but every person who's come to the farm for session or meditation or the membership, I would venture to say that everybody, it probably identifies as being highly sensitive. And so,
Hmm.
and maybe not all the horses, but Luna for sure as well. And so there's a lot of nervous system healing that's going on. And the beautiful thing about working with horses is that it's a very gentle way for us to get into our bodies. And
Hmm.
lot of people, and I work with people who have been through a lot of different quote unquote therapies to help with their getting them in their bodies. And a lot of things can, I always say, like blow us out. Like even,
Hmm.
meditation sometimes, even when I was doing that meditation, I was aware of that. Like this expansion could feel too much for somebody who's not in their body. And so it can be a lot for people. And so the horses are really good about meeting people where they are at. That's what I always say is that they they meet you where you're at. So it might be as simple as kind of their first level is what the Heart Math Institute calls entrainment. So you come here,
Hmm.
you're on the farm, you're on the land, it feels good. And then the horses are by nature so that they still feel safe. They're working on your energetic state, your brain waves, your heart rate, your breathing, so that you are part of the herd, so they can still spot a predator. So that's something they're basically smoothing out your energy so that they can still be aware. So it's like it's like a big herd hug, I always call it. So that's like the one level where you're going to feel that and then you're going to leave and you'll be like, oh, I feel better. And also, I warn people, like, I even had these ladies come, they just wanted to paint the horses, and they're professional painters on the island. And I said, yeah, come. And of course, I was there for safety, and they didn't realize they were going to be right there with the horses. They thought there would be a fence or whatever. Luna, Curious George, came right up and was blocking one lady's vision of Raven because she was painting her. But Luna's doing healing work because people are people. It's not like these people are here. She doesn't know if they're here for this or that. I mean, she
Hmm.
could see they were painting. And I told these ladies, I said, you might feel tired after, like you've had some energy work, whether you like it or not. And yeah, you might feel tired. You might, have dreams about the horses, whatever. So I often will tell people then if people are like more connected with horses or quite in their bodies or ready to go deeper, they can go very, very deep with the horses and really have opening, powerful experiences.
Hmm. That's wonderful. And I just love your passion as it comes through as you're talking about your experience with horses. I feel like we could go on forever. And unfortunately, we get to the point where we have to wrap up. And I always love to close with a question. And it's, what is one simple way someone could connect with the sacred today?
Yeah. I mean, I, of course, would suggest they sit with a horse. I always say that the horses are the greens juice of nature. You take all the greens in the garden and you put them into like a greens powder, and that's like your super powerful juice of the greens. And yeah, I've had a lady say, I can sit with a tree all day, which some people is trees. Like, I get different things for different people, but for her, she can sit with a tree all day and feel good. But the second she sees horses eating grass, she comes into her body so fast and feels so grounded. And so, yeah, I really think of them as that. So I think the thing that horses essentially want us to do, so how we can tap into the sacred, is just any way that brings us into presence. That's one of their biggest gifts, is being in the present moment. So it could even be with our dog or be with a tree, but slowing down. Our world is not very slow. And
So true.
yes, really slowing down and being with what's here in this moment.
Thank you. I love that. And, really that's what this podcast is about, is giving people an opportunity to slow down and connect with ideas and experiences that they might not always get to hear or have.
Yeah, I love it.
So if anyone listening wants to stay connected or explore more of your work, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so I have my website. It's ThirzaVoysey.com. Also, soulfarm.ca still links to there. So that's a little bit easier to spell. Soul Farm is SOUL farm.ca. Also, I'm on Instagram at Soul Farm Sanctuary and Soul Farm Horse Medicine on Facebook. And they can also email me on or through the website, send messages. I love getting messages.
And we'll share all those links in the show notes. So Thirza, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so grateful to have gotten to speak with you and to hear your stories and you sharing your gifts. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I love any opportunity to talk about this. I'm so passionate about it.
You are so welcome. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take good care. Thank you for joining us on Sacred Sundays. I hope something in today's offering spoke to your spirit, stirred something true, or simply gave you a moment to breathe. If this conversation resonated, please subscribe, rate, or share. It truly helps this work reach the people who are meant to find it. If you'd like to step inside my world a little further, I host a free live practice 3 mornings a week called Start With You. Just 20 minutes on Zoom to return to your own energy. Everything you need can be found at the link in the show notes. Until next time, may your day be slow and sacred.